Hey, Nichole Huntsman, your astrologer from moderncosmic.com. We're going to talk about Sagittarius South Node or ninth house South Node placement in your relationship charts. This is a Davison chart that we're talking about. Now, Sagittarius, key themes with Sagittarius would be wisdom and ideology. When I think of a couple that sort of represents what a South Node Sagittarius couple might have looked like, think of Footloose, the preacher and his wife. That's a great example of a couple who's operating with a South Node. Let's pretend like that was your past life. You were that couple, okay? Not really a healthy use of Sagittarian energy, right? It's dogmatic, over associating with sort of like personal beliefs and completely ignoring anyone else's religious beliefs, right? Think about also with Sagittarius when it's not functioning well, you've got this sort of placing ideology over feelings, over other people's feelings. It's sort of, I know everything, therefore you should listen to me. And there can be elements of prejudging people, prejudging other cultures. Now, another way that Sag can play out, interestingly enough, is a couple that cannot get their feet underneath them. They're just wandering life, like 56, the I Ching number 56, which is fire on the mountain, the wanderer. And that's this coupling where it's like they just can't figure out career, they can't figure out what they're doing with their living situation. I mean, look at where it falls, of course, but it can be this kind of scattered energy. That happens a lot with the mutable nodes, because mutable signs kind of are process oriented. They have to sort of try things and figure things out. And many times Sagittarius can be overly optimistic and overly risk taking, and can get itself into situations where, again, it's this, I know best. I know what I'm doing. So why would I'm not worried about this gamble and this risk, because I know it's going to turn out great. See, it's overly optimistic. And then they get burned, and then they're like, oh, geez, we invested $200,000 into that franchise, and it failed, and now what? So especially if you throw some Neptune in there, then you got a really interesting South Node. Look at Jupiter. So look at where Jupiter falls, because that's the ruler, of course, of Sagittarius. And look at the house placement. Look at it by zodiac sign placement. That will give you more of an idea about how this South Node is playing out for you guys. The way to bring this forward, you need to expand your worldview. So yes, travel, ironically enough, travel is a fantastic thing to do with this South Node, bringing it forward into Gemini, but perhaps going outside of your comfort zone. It is taking classes together. It is, I could even see this for a couple that teaches, a couple that they're both teachers, or they're, those like life coaches. This is very much something I could see with someone who's a life coach. They are helping expand consciousness. That's actually what Sagittarius is here to do. It's just when Sagittarius we're talking about South Node, it's always the less well-functioning version of that, right? So you could have had a past life where you were a teacher, like a professor. You guys were teachers, or you were important in your community. Maybe you helped build schools, or maybe you did something in your community where you were the preacher and the wife, or like I already mentioned, could definitely be like a religious past life, that type of thing. The point being, in this life, you're supposed to be expanding your consciousness when it comes to your personal beliefs, your personal set of beliefs, and as a couple. So you need to do more wool gathering. You need to do more taking classes, as I said already. You need to explore your inner worlds and your outer worlds. Writing is fantastic with this North Node together, maybe doing some kind of journaling or storytelling. I don't know, it just depends on the couple and the rest of the chart. But the idea being, get out of your ideological comfort zone and open your eyes up to the world around you, and share things with people and have them share with you, other couples. That's that kind of thing. Another thing I'm going to note about Gemini. Gemini is very interesting, as is Mercury. We're talking about the North Node now, right? Gemini can be more than one. And same with Mercury. So it could even be, maybe this relationship, you're not meant to be in a traditional marriage. Maybe this is a relationship where it's one of several that you're supposed to be experiencing in this life. A soulmate relationship, yes, but perhaps it's one even, I've seen this on actually quite a few charts, people who are actually in the middle of affairs. There are really strong Mercury, really strong Gemini markers. And to me, it's like more than one. I even joke when it's Mercury, Mars together in, like, let's say a Davison chart, that to me is like there's more than one penis in that chart. And it could be a gay couple, but it could also be a couple where there's some dalliances happening, okay? Or same thing with Mercury conjunct Venus. It's not always, but I'm just, take a look at some charts that you studied, people that you know, maybe even celebrities. If there have been, multiple sexual partners happening at once, you will see these markers in those charts. Also, Mercury conjunct the Sun in composite or Davison charts tends to be, yes, a relationship that is intellectual or enjoys conversation, but it's also a relationship where there are many times more than one relationship, and it's maybe not the relationship, but it's one that's very important, but it may be happening at the same time as another relationship. It's an interesting thing that I've sort of been studying lately, and I've seen it come up time and time again. So just thought I'd share that. Okay, other than that, let me know if you have thoughts. If you've got this in your relationship chart, share with us. Sharing is caring. Use that node. Okay, have a good one. Bye-bye.